Hi Scorpio, here is a general look at your solar chart for September 2014, and always when the sun is in Virgo, it's in a good angle, it's in an opportunistic area for your sun sign, and actually who you know, who you connect with, how well you carry your responsibilities and discharge your commitments and obligations, and also your ability to show yourself to be reliable and competent is going to figure pretty much this month, among some other things as well. But at the very end of August and the very beginning of September, like the first couple of days of September, there's some Neptune around, and there's also some Saturn on Mars, which can slow things down, you know, make you feel like you're just sort of pushing through thick treacle. It can mean that you've got more on your plate, or it can mean that there's just more pressures on you there, but it is pretty fleeting. However, because of the Neptune element, it's sort of, there are uncertainties around. And these uncertainties will, mean that you can't get the clarity that you'd like, because Neptune tends to fog things, it blurs things, you know, and there's a lack of focus in a way, or a lack of definite focus is what I mean. So with these ambiguities swirling around, it's maybe not the best idea to come down on this side or the other side, or be definite, because you can't be actually until later on, and I would say later after mid-month. Until the 6th Venus is helping to create more favorable circumstances with authority figures, but also in business, anything to do with your worldly responsibilities, right? And that's been going on throughout most of August, and has just got this little bit left to run in September. And definitely there could be some allies in high places, you know, which can sort of give you a step up the ladder of success. You could even be socializing with people who've got the power, you know, to help you in some way, who could be useful to you. And then from the 6th, Venus is in this area of friendships, warming the area of friendships, warming up and making it seem more easygoing within groups. And anything to do with the internet, networking, that kind of thing, hearing the right sort of feedback, or feedback that you can use, you can do something with, and you being seen as somebody who is facilitating something, or who is pooling your forces and resources with them, and the other way around, you know, you seeing them as facilitating you and contributing to your thing, and facilitating your aims and ambitions in both of those positions, I have to say. Particularly from the 6th, it's got a more progressive feel to it. You know, who you know and what you can achieve because of this association that you have with these others. Until the 28th, Mercury is working from quite deep levels. You can be listening to your gut, your instinct, your inner quiet little voice. The voice in your head might be leading you off in, you know, in one direction, but your hands and your body are doing something else. So I would go with the hands and the body, because, you know, that's a much more ancient wisdom than the frontal lobes. You could find yourself mentally at 6s and 7s because you can't quite make up your mind about something, or you haven't got all of the evidence down, you know, to judge. You haven't got, you know, there's some bits missing. And it can be a little bit like that. This is a good time to just have a bit of a daydream, you know, just to kind of let go, zone out, more than normal, I would say. Also good time to be there for others, to say the right words, you know, when they need them, or even literally, if it's a language issue, to be the go-between person, you know, even when you're not in the mood. It's a great time for imaginative artistic activities, or being in environments which are beautiful and which, you know, feed you on deep levels. But also it's a good time for healing, spiritual, imaginative pursuits, and listening to that guidance. We've all got the team behind us, invisible through our physical 3D eyes, but they're there. And so this is a time to just, what was that? Oh yeah. And it's not necessarily a voice, it's more like it's almost like a notion that just wells up into you, and you think, oh, okay, you know how it is. You're a Scorpio, you know. And you also, on a more sort of human being, psychological sort of your psyche, this is a time with Mercury here for you to realize that you've got some bad habits in your thinking and your reacting, and that maybe you oughtn't to do that anymore. Or you're looking at somebody else and thinking, you know, that is or that could be a bad habit. So it's difficult to evaluate until after mid-month, and also there could be some jitters in the second week. Particularly look to the 11th and 12th, because there could be the element of the unexpected, the out of control, but also there's more riding on something as well, you know. So you might have to let go and let God, but on the other hand, you might have to hold a very strong vision of how you'd like it to be, and then let go and let God. Because God, of course, is not separate from any of us. So we do have a say. And yeah, around the 11th and the 12th, and that could be a time when you feel like there's some coercion going on. It might be towards you, it might be something that you see, or it might be, you know, that you are getting so passionate about something that you are being very, very forceful in your opinion on somebody else, or your will on somebody else, or you've got things welling up inside of you. You've got a lot welling up inside of you, maybe because of the Mercury being in this area where you're not, you know, you can't quite make up, you're not quite certain, and you just get these feelings piling up, you see. So you have to be careful about that. You've got to go and look for an outlet somewhere, which, you know, isn't going to inadvertently take somebody else aback. Stick up for what's important to you, obviously. But I would say don't make any huge mega decisions until after mid-month, because then the dust settled, things are calmer, you get things in proportion. Mars is in your sign, and this can really amp things up. You know, Mars can be hasty, feisty. Mars is martial, rules war. So is the warrior, and you on the one hand, this is a great time to get the ball rolling, because you got more energy, you've got more focus, you've got more direction, you want to initiate, you want to go for it. But also you can be a little bit, you know, you can be a little bit impatient, or you can be so keen to go forwards. You know, you're sort of almost like, you know, rushing, and then accidents can happen. So just be aware and be careful, and put your feet up. You know, you need to put your feet up enough, because Mars for a very long time was in the previous sign, and I mean for months and months and months and months Mars was in the sign before yours, meaning that maybe your energy was much lower. But now Mars is coming to your sign over this 6 weeks. Is there throughout the whole of August. It's time for you to really get clear and get going on things, and you can be very successful because you can cover a lot of ground. And then from, well, you see, this area also is where Saturn is. And Saturn means that Saturn in your sign means that this is a time for you to be building a major new beginning for yourself, and turns of events, you know, come along and act as throwing spanners in the works, and you weren't expecting them, and you just have to sort of keep going, you know, keep clearing that next hurdle, keep clearing that next hurdle, keep clearing that next hurdle, because Mars is the great, Saturn is the great tester of the zodiac. And what you're about is building this fresh new structure for the next chapter in your life. And through adversity, you find your way forwards, and you've done most of it now. You have a little way to go in this marathon with with Saturn. Why do I keep saying Mars? But Mars is also with Saturn at the moment until mid-month. So Mars is going to really, really stir it up and speed it up and make it seem more immediate, because Saturn is just kind of plugging away there, plugging away there, plugging away there, since October 2012. And Saturn will come out of there at the end of this year. We'll go back in again for a tiny, tiny visit in 2015, but it's all over by the end of this year for most of your sign, really, although 2015 will be the time when you were just kind of changing gear and things beginning to flow more, and there not being this feeling of being delayed and stopped and blocked so much. You Scorpios born in the middle 10 days, always 17 to 22 degrees rising, will feel this energy the most this month. Mars, as I say, is stirring all of this up. And so it will be more in your face, you know, about your responsibilities, your commitments, how it's quite hard sometimes to keep turning up and doing what you know you need to do, right? Whether that's for yourself physically, whether that's for others, whether that's a mixture of the both, whether that's about money, whether that's about the job, whether that's about just the way you put yourself across and your compassion towards your brothers and your sisters, you know, in this world we live in, or the animals, or nature, or whatever it's about. It's doing it as immaculately and with grace and beauty, you know, walk in beauty, walk in grace as much as you can, even though, you know, maybe you're sweating at times. And it's a big ask. Always the Saturn transit is a huge one. It's a mega one. That's why it only comes around once every 29 years, okay? But what you learn under a Saturn transit abides with you for all of your days. I've done a couple of them already. Now, from mid-month, Mars is demanding then that you put more effort and decisiveness into getting organized with the piggy bank, with the property, with the possessions, protecting, you know, maintaining, acquiring, getting rid, whatever it's about, from that date there. The 14th of September, over the subsequent 6 weeks actually, that will be there, and there could be some tensions occasionally, but you can be decisive and then follow it up with action in that area there to do with the piggy bank. And that's it for September. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. It'll make a sort of a different picture if you just take a little bit from either of those. And I'll see you the next time.